if nothing else, if this thing doesn't even have any real-world practical application, it's just fun. Hey everybody, I'm Ethan, and today I'm going to be checking out the Emove RoadRunner from Vora Motors. This crazy looking little contraption is not really a bike or a scooter, but some kind of weird hybrid. It has an impressive top speed and range, and a price tag of $1,795 US. So how does it ride, who is it for, and could this be a good choice for your commute, or is it just some kind of goofy toy? We're going to find out next on Now Let's Review. And if you like what we're doing on this channel and you want to support us, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. It helps us to get more cool products for us to review as well, which in the end benefits you. The first thing I want to talk about with the RoadRunner is the rider positioning. Surprisingly, considering the tiny size of this bike, I can't even call it a bike, this scooter thing, it's very comfortable. Like, I'm not hunched over, I'm not all crouched down like that. I'm actually like fairly upright. It's a comfortable ride. I don't feel too cramped. Again, I'm only 5'9", so anyone who's a lot taller than me might have a worse experience on this. But if you're around average height, this should be perfectly comfortable to ride. The seat, considering it's small, is pretty comfortable. It's kind of memory foam-ish. It's got this like fake leather cover on it. It's really not that bad. This has a maximum rider weight of 330 pounds, so that should be able to accommodate, I would think, most people who would be looking to ride something like this. Before I cover all the specs and everything, I do want to just say that this is a slightly older model. The newer ones are going to have some different aesthetic stuff, maybe a couple different changes in like materials and everything, but overall, generally speaking, this is going to be basically the same as any one that you might get now. This crazy little contraption here has two motors. This has a 300 watt hub motor in the front wheel here, and in the back we have a 500 watt hub motor. So dual motor brings this thing up to a absurd top speed of around 34-35 miles an hour. Now, obviously that's a reasonable speed for something the size of a bike, but because this thing is so comically small, it's just crazy when you're going that fast. So this has 14-inch pneumatic tires, front and rear. This does have front suspension, as you can see. It is adjustable, but as I'll talk about when I'm riding, it doesn't really do a whole lot. All right, I'm full throttle, 32, base at 33. All right, I hit about 33 miles an hour. It definitely feels really fast on something this small. Handling is good. It handles well. Oh, there's a lot of crap in the road, so I'm not gonna take that turn too hard, but like, it's very agile and it grips well too. Like, none of the tires aren't slipping at all or anything. It's a fun little thing to ride around. I really do enjoy it. So as I mentioned, this does have front suspension, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Like, I'm gonna run over this storm drain here and just like, oh, it really just still doesn't do much of anything, to be honest. Like, even if I jump on it, it doesn't have enough travel to really make a ton of a difference. So I would say this is definitely something that you should be riding only on really, really nice pavement. All right, let's test the acceleration. 0 to top speed. Ready, full throttle now. It picks up, I would say, like quicker than the average e-bike. It's got a little bit better acceleration than most of the e-bikes I've tested out, but it's not like super exciting or anything. It's fine. It gets up and goes. 31, it's saying. Front and rear mechanical disc brakes on this. On the newer models, you will have hydraulic brakes, so just keep that in mind that this is, again, an older one, has mechanical brakes. The brakes are set up the correct way. Your right brake is actually your front brake, and your left brake is your back brake. I always like when the brakes are set up like that. We'll go down the hill and we'll test these brakes. All right, 35. We're gonna brake from 35 miles an hour. Ready? Go. Oh, wow. They work really well, and I really was mostly just using the front brake because I'm holding onto the camera with my left hand, so grabbing the rear brake would be pretty hard. I don't really know of a good way to secure this and measure it over the course of the hill, but what I'll do is I'll do the hill test. Bottom of the hill, we're gonna go full throttle. We're in the dual motor mode, and we'll see how it does. I think it's gonna do really, really well. All right, here we go. 13, 14, 15, 16. It's accelerating up the hill. Yeah, this is gonna make it no problem at all. 23, yeah, 23 miles an hour up the hill. This thing can tackle hills really easily. We do have an LED headlight in the front here, pretty bright, as well as a brake light here that lights up when you squeeze the brakes. Also, this does have, well, so right here you have a control for the headlight, nice button here that you press. It also has directionals. So you have left and right directionals. When I put that on, it flashes here. It actually turns yellow too, so that's pretty cool. Cancel it by pressing the button. Left and right directionals. And the other button here is a horn. It is really loud. It's really loud, actually. We have speed here, mode here. You have 3 modes, mode 1, 2, and 3. You've got your power button, and then if you hold the mode button, you can cycle through your trip and your odometer. On the right-hand side, we have the thumb throttle here, and also these buttons. So this button, the R1, if you press that, only the rear motor is activated. If you press the I button, both motors are activated. Powering this whole thing with the 2 motors is this absolutely colossal 48 volt, 26.1 amp hour battery that is just enormous. This battery is way bigger than I think any e-bike that we have. Removing it and installing it is a little tricky, even though the mechanism is really simple. Like, you just got to slide it on this rail here and then push it down in there and it clicks in. Then you can pull the key out so that won't go anywhere. And that colossal battery gives this a claimed range of up to 53 miles. And it charges in 12 hours as well, so that is a pretty long charge time. But I mean, I would think if you're commuting 53 miles in one direction, you're probably not going to be taking this. The foot pegs are not welded on here or anything. They literally just screw on and off. That little bit of threading right there, that little bit of the bolt that this screws onto, is all that's keeping this on here, and is all that's supporting your weight if you have to stand up on these pegs or whatever. Like, I'm glad that they're removable for storage or whatever, for transporting it. Like, it makes it more compact by a little bit, but I don't know that I trust this that much, to be honest. Another cool feature is that the handlebars here, if you undo this latch, which is kind of difficult to, there's a very powerful spring in there. Unfold this latch here, handlebars fold in like this. Really, really nice for if you've got very limited storage. You can fold these handlebars in. Refolding them is kind of weird. You kind of have to, like, I don't know, there's a weird technique kind of thing, but just clamp this down, and then you have to, God, just be careful of that. This button you have to push here to fully undo the latch is like ready to pinch your finger at any point, so just be careful when you push that in. So like I said, you probably will be able to store this in an apartment, but getting it upstairs if you live in a apartment that is not on the ground level is going to be kind of hard, because this thing does weigh 55 pounds, even though it is so compact. Now, yeah, you can pick it up. It's not that hard, but it is kind of awkward, and I don't think you're going to be able to carry it very easily if the handlebars are folded down. The frame is an aluminum alloy with a nice matte black finish. It looks great, honestly. Obviously, whether or not you like the design of this thing is going to be up to you, but I mean, overall, just like from a color scheme standpoint, I really like it. The matte black everywhere looks great. I think I've covered pretty much everything as far as specs go, but in case I forgot anything, or in case you want to see even more details, I'm going to put up a screenshot of all the specs of this so you can pause the video and check that out if you're interested. So I've been giving a lot of thought as I've been riding this around and testing it out to who I think this is actually for. And I don't necessarily know that there's a real distinct category of people that this is for, because although it has some pretty impressive performance and it has a great range, massive battery and all that, the size and the styling are going to be really off-putting for a lot of people, I think. So this is going to be for someone who is particularly interested in this style of vehicle, someone who, to be honest, in many ways isn't ashamed to ride around on something like this. And that's not a dig at this particular vehicle. It's not a dig at Voro Motors or Emove. it's just like, it's just a fact that not everyone is going to like the style of this thing and not everyone is gonna wanna ride one of these around. In my opinion, this is probably good for someone who has an urban or suburban-ish commute, who has really nice pavement, but has to go a good distance and doesn't necessarily want a bike. And even if they want an e-bike, maybe they don't have the amount of space to store an e-bike that they need. Maybe you live in a small apartment. And I think because of the compact size of this, the fact that it has such a massive battery, a crazy range, and a really high top speed, I think if you have that kind of a commute and you're okay being seen on this thing, this might be a great option. I think where this won't work for a lot of people is how small it is if you're a taller person. It's great that it's small in terms of being able to store it easily, but if you're just a taller person, then this isn't gonna work for you. If nothing else, if this thing doesn't even have any real-world practical application, it's just fun. So overall, I do think that the RoadRunner could actually be a legitimate commuting vehicle if it fits your needs. I think the advantages over an e-bike are that it's smaller and more easily stored. And I think the advantages over a scooter are that you don't have to stand the whole time, so your legs probably won't be as tired. Now, of course, this has a massive claimed range of up to 53 miles per charge. And when I tested the range, I got 25 miles out of it, but I was also going almost entirely full throttle and almost all in the dual motor mode, going up and down hills. So I basically got the worst case scenario range out of it, and 25 miles worst case scenario is still a pretty impressive range. If you're interested in getting the RoadRunner, I would say go for it if it meets your needs. This is actually something you could use as a legitimate commuting vehicle. It's not just a toy. And before we wrap up, I just want to give a shout out to Lumos helmets and thank them for partnering with us. Lumos makes a range of super cool and very safe bike helmets that include headlights, brake lights, directionals, and some of them even have MIPS, which is an added safety measure that helps to reduce concussions even further than simply wearing the helmet by itself. If you're interested in picking up one of these amazing helmets, head on over to lumoshelmet.co and use our code NowYouKnowLumos to get a discount on your order. All right, well, that wraps it up for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you like this video. It helps us out. It helps us share this video with more people. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of this. And also, if you're interested in review videos, make sure you subscribe. We're at about 8,000 right now, and I really would love to get to 10,000 by the end of this year. I know it's a lot to ask, but if you are interested and you like this channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out a lot. That's all I have for you this time. Thank you for watching. Now let's review.